Hello, my name is Evan Kingsbury, and I will be speaking to you briefly about an outstanding book called The Speed of Trust, The One Thing That Changes Everything by Stephen M.R. Covey.
If you're not familiar with Stephen M.R. Covey, you've certainly heard of his father, Dr. Stephen R. Covey, author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. However, Stephen is not just riding on his father's coattails. He's a Harvard MBA grad and the current CEO of Covey Link and former CEO of Covey Leadership Center. Stephen is a thought leader in the fields of trust and leadership, and he is also a New York Times best-selling author. In our course, Management 653, early on we discussed a lot of different definitions of leadership. In his book, Stephen gives his own definition. He says leadership is getting results in a way that inspires trust. I like this definition because it enforces a lot of the concepts that we talk about in this book. Covey sets up his book by acknowledging the low trust environment in which we all live. He says low trust is everywhere. It permeates our global society, our marketplaces, our organizations, our relationships, and our personal lives.
A recent survey conducted by British sociologist David Halpern reveals that only 34% of Americans believe other people can be trusted.
Think about how all of this distrust is affecting your organization. Despite the low trust environment that we all live in, Covey believes there is hope for us. He says that it's a misconception that trust is a soft, elusive quality that either you have or you don't have. In his book, Covey sets out to prove that trust is both tangible and quantifiable, that trust is in fact a hard-edged economic driver.
The economics of trust, the formula on the screen will show you that trust is both quantifiable and tangible. When trust goes up, speed also goes up and cost go down. When trust goes down, speed will also go down and cost will go up.
So what is trust? Trust is essentially confidence. The opposite of trust is suspicion. Trust is comprised of equal parts character and competence. Competence is what gives trust its harder, more pragmatic edge. Simply put, we trust people who deliver results. The bulk of this book is focused on the model called the 5 waves of trust.
This 5 waves model is derived from the ripple effect metaphor seen here. There are 5 ways of trust: self-trust, relationship trust, organizational trust, market trust, and societal trust. This graphic shows the interdependent nature of trust and how it flows from the inside out. Depending on your role and responsibilities within your organization, you may have more or less influence on each successive wave. But the good news is we all have significant control over the first 2 waves, self-trust and relationship trust. Let's jump in. The first wave is self-trust. The key principle in this wave is credibility.
Self-trust deals with the confidence that we have in ourselves and our abilities to set and to achieve goals, to keep commitments to ourselves, and to essentially walk our talk. It deals with our ability to inspire trust in others. The whole idea here is to become, both to ourselves and to other people, a person who is worthy of trust. The key principle in Wave 1 is credibility. Covey explains how we can use the 4 cores of credibility to increase our credibility and to establish trust with ourselves and with others.
Your ability to be trusted stems from your credibility. There are 4 cores of credibility, 2 cores which stem from character and 2 which stem from competence.
Let's take a closer look at the 4 cores. The first core of credibility is integrity. This core is a matter of character. Using the tree metaphor that we saw a moment ago, integrity is the roots. Our integrity comes from within. Like the roots of a tree, our integrity is invisible to other people. Integrity is what most people think about when they think about trust. But integrity is more than just being honest. It's about being congruent. It's about walking your talk. Having integrity means having the courage to act in accordance with your values and belief. As Covey says, if you're going to have integrity, you have to define your values. He says you can't work from the inside out if you don't know what's on the inside.
The second core of credibility is intent. This is a matter of character. Looking at our tree metaphor, intent is the trunk, partly below ground and partly above ground. While our motives and our agendas are inside of ourselves, they become visible to others through our behaviors.
Intent has to do with our motives, our agendas, and our resulting behaviors. Trust grows when our motives and our agendas are straightforward and based on mutual benefit. We build credibility when we genuinely care, not just about ourselves, but the people we interact with. Our behaviors are the manifestations of our motives and our agendas. To build our credibility and to inspire trust with others, we need to act in the best interest of others.
The third core is capabilities. This core is a matter of competency. Look at our tree metaphor again, and you will see that the capabilities are the branches. Just as the branches of a real tree lead to the fruits, our capabilities are what lead to our results.
Capabilities are the abilities that we have to inspire confidence. Covey uses the acronym TASKS to help readers remember their capabilities, which are talents, attitude, skills, knowledge, and style. Our capabilities are the means we use to produce results. Capabilities also deal in our ability to establish, grow, extend, and restore trust.
The fourth core of credibility is results. In the tree metaphor illustrated here, results are the fruits. You can remember this by thinking that results are the fruits of our labor.
Results refers to our track record and our performance. Results refers to getting the right things done. If we don't accomplish the things we are expected to, it diminishes our credibility. On the other hand, when we achieve the results we promise, we establish a positive reputation for performing. And our reputation often precedes us.
Moving right along, the second wave of trust is relationship trust. The key principle here is behavior.
Relationship trust relates to how we establish and increase the trust that we have with others. The key principle in this wave is consistent behavior. In this wave, Covey shares 13 behaviors commonly exhibited by high trust leaders around the world.
I don't have time to go through each of these behaviors in detail, but if you wish to pause the video, you can read through all 13 now.
In the book, the author provides full details on all of these behaviors. Covey also provides a quiz to help you gauge where you stand on each of these behaviors. After taking the quiz, he recommends focusing in on 2 or 3 behaviors where you're lacking, so you can create an action plan for personal development. Using the 13 behaviors will help you establish trust, increase trust, and even restore trust with others. The first 2 waves of trust, self-trust and relationship trust, fill the majority of this book. The 4 cores of credibility and the 13 behaviors of high trust leaders are the trust tools that you can use throughout the remaining waves of this book. As a reader, I found these first 2 waves to be the most relevant and the most useful. As we move into waves 3, 4, and 5, we will be dealing with stakeholder trust.
The third wave is organizational trust. The key principle here is alignment.
The third wave, organizational trust, deals with establishing trust with internal stakeholders. This wave covers how leaders can create trust in all types of organizations. Leaders need to create alignment with their organization's structures, systems, and symbols to create an environment of high trust. In this section, Covey gives a powerful example of an organization that is aligned for high trust. At Nordstrom, the employee handbook consists of 1 card. At the front of the card, it basically says, "Welcome to Nordstrom. We're glad you're here." The back of the card says, "We have only one rule. Use good judgment in all situations." In this example, the 1 card employee handbook serves as a symbol of high trust between the organization and its employees.
The fourth wave of trust is market trust. The key principle here is reputation.
The fourth wave, market trust, deals with establishing trust with external stakeholders such as customers and investors. Market trust is the wave where most people are able to see the economic impact of trust. The key principle in wave 4 is reputation. For an organization, their reputation is their brand. A highly trusted brand creates customer loyalty. Loyal customers buy more often and refer their friends and family more frequently.
The fifth wave of trust is societal trust. The key principle here is contribution.
The fifth wave deals with establishing trust in society through the principles of contribution and global citizenship. Societal trust is about creating value for others and for society at large. When organizations contribute or give back to society, they are working against the inherent distrust in our society that I talked about earlier. Organizations today are expanding upon traditional philanthropic activities by integrating social and ethical agendas into the very fabric of their business. As Covey puts it, doing good is no longer seen as something in addition to business. It is part of business itself. That wraps it up for the 5 waves of trust. Covey spends the last section of his book on extending what he calls smart trust. As distrusting as our society may seem, people are actually born with a propensity to trust. Smart trust is a high propensity for trust coupled with a high analysis. To help demonstrate this point, a person with a high propensity to trust and a low analysis is simply gullible. They will trust anyone. Smart trust is about being open to trust, but also analyzing a situation from all angles before extending trust. The concepts from the Speed of Trust are incredibly relevant and universal. The book's subtitle says it all. Trust is the one thing that changes everything. In our coursework, trust could be the answer to a number of our learning objectives. One of our key learning objectives from the course was to analyze and explain the role of leaders in improving organizational effectiveness. In the Speed of Trust, Covey says that the ability to establish, grow, extend, and restore trust with all stakeholders is the leadership competency of the new global economy. As a leader, if your goal isn't to improve organizational effectiveness, the best place to start is by establishing trust with your employees. The economics of trust are clear. When trust goes up, speed will also go up and cost will go down. This means work gets done faster and more cost effectively. That's the very goal of an effective organization. In week 3, one of our learning objectives was to create and recommend a change management process that engages and motivates employees and fosters creativity and innovation. In his book, Covey suggests that the 4 cores of credibility, integrity, intent, capabilities, and results can be used as a change management process for an organization. For example, he says, to increase organizational integrity, you can create or improve your organizational mission or value statements, engaging everyone in the process to ensure that it's more than just some platitude hanging on the wall. By establishing high organizational trust, you'll create an environment where continuous learning and constant improvement are encouraged. This will foster creativity and innovation within your organization. Another principle that Covey addresses in his book is what the Japanese call kaizen, which means continuous improvement. I think this could be a better business strategy than innovation. Innovation happens in big bursts. Businesses are usually working from one innovation to the next. With Kaizen, you just focus on small improvements continuously so that your organization is always improving. In conclusion, I would like to share my opinions on the Speed of Trust. I chose this book from the list of options that our professor furnished because I knew I needed to work on myself. I knew that I wanted to develop more trust in my relationship, both personal and professional. I thought, if I'm going to do this assignment, shouldn't I make it relevant to the class and personal to myself? And that's exactly what this book is. The content is incredibly relevant. As I read this book, it became obvious to me how trust affects everything. Every relationship you have, every business transaction, practically every decision you make is based on trust. The reason I say this book is personal is because it's all about applying the concepts to your life. This book isn't designed to talk at you, it's designed to inspire you, to teach you, and ultimately to help you develop trust with yourself and with others. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. I'm actually reading it a second time to continue my journey on building trust. Thank you for watching my presentation. I hope you will consider reading The Speed of Trust, The One Thing That Changes Everything by Stephen M. R. Covey.